A very good afternoon to one and all. I welcome all to the day one of the two-day intercollegiate webinar on knowledge sharing and expert systems organized by IQAC and Department of Computer Science of Sri Krishnaswamy College, Pavilion. It will be auspicious to start any moment with a prayer song. Let us all join for the prayer song.
सूर्यकोटि समप्रभ निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा.
It is a great pleasure and privilege for me to welcome our guest speaker, Ms. Martina Betsy, Assistant Professor, Department of Commerce, Computer Applications, Women's Christian College, Chennai. Ms. Martina Betsy has completed her MCA postgraduate program from Madras Christian College, Chennai, University of Madras. She is currently associated with Women's Christian College, Chennai as Assistant Professor in the Department of Commerce, Computer Applications. She has the credit of serving about 8 years in the teaching profession and has also 2 years as an iOS developer for the corporate giants like BNP Paribas, Denmark, ING Bank, TCS, Chennai. Her research areas of interest involves in machine learning and deep learning projects. She has also presented many papers in various national conferences. Welcome you, ma'am. On the onset, I warmly welcome our chairman, Thiru M.A.K. Balakrishnan sir, directors, Mr. K.B.K. Rajmohan sir, Mr. K.B. Arun sir, Mr. K.B. Krishnanand sir for the kind consentment in organizing this program. I warmly welcome our beloved Dean, Dr. R. Revati ma'am, esteemed Principal Dr. Anita Rajendran ma'am, who always guide, lead and motivate us in all our endeavors. My hearty welcome to all the overwhelming participants from colleges in and around the host state and various other states, our faculty members and my dear students. May I request our Honorable Principal, Dr. Anita Rajendran ma'am, to address the session and give her valuable inputs to the participants.
On behalf of our management, on behalf of our management, staff and students, I welcome Ms. Martina, an old colleague of mine in WCC. I'm so happy to see you, Martina. And last time when I met you, first time I met you, you were a young student, just, got into lectureship job. And from that time to this time, you have grown up so much. So feel so very happy to see you and invite you as a guest speaker for our present college now, Sri Krishnaswamy College for Women, Chennai. And dear students, take the expertise knowledge given by Ms. Martina. She's one of the best colleague and a professional I know. So I thank Martina for taking her time and coming for us. And I think so it will be very, very useful for us. Thank you so much, Martina. And I thank the department for taking the initiative and planning such webinars. Thank you, the head of the department and others in the department. And welcome you students. And again, I will repeat by saying, pay attention, chalk down everything that the expert tells us so that it will help you to take you to the next stage. Thank you all.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. It's now high time to open the session by Ms. Martina Betsy, Assistant Professor, Department of Commerce, Computer Applications, Women's Christian College, Chennai. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for the very warm welcome. And I sincerely tell my gratitude to Dr. Anita Rajendran, ma'am. She's one of my mentor, and I'm very happy that I worked under her. And on a personal note, she has shared me so many experiences, and she has guided me in a very good way. And I thank Dr. R. Revati, the Dean, Mr. K.B. Arun, Director, Dr. S. Meenakshi, Head of the Department of Computer Science, and Ms. D. Radha, Assistant Professor, and the team, the entire team, and IQSC, the coordinators and the team. Thank you so much for this opportunity. So we'll move on to the session, today's session. Okay. So today we are going to see about expert system and artificial intelligence, right? So how many of you are aware of what is it, right? What is an expert system, or what do you mean by expert system, right? Any guesses or any things you can put up? You can always be very active in the chat, YouTube chat, right? Students are so active in texting, so you can show your talent, how you can text fast in YouTube, right? Okay. So before we start, we'll just begin with a short activity, right? So this activity, you have to, we'll see who's the first who writes the correct answer. Okay, so here there are lots of colors given, right? Written in different colors. So now you have to tell me, you have to just text me in the chat that safest color is green, but yellow is written, it is written in green. So you have to write the color that is there. Say not yellow, you have to tell green. And next you have to tell yellow, not the blue. Though the word is written as blue, you have to tell the yellow, the color that you see. Next, it is orange, but you have to tell it is red. So shall we start this? Yes, are you all ready? So we'll have a timer for 45 seconds. So at the end of 45 seconds, we'll see who is the winner, who types the correct sequence of colors, right? Are you ready? Shall we start? Yes, you can type your answers in the chat. Your time starts now. Yes, it's going to end. Okay, so the time stops, right? So shall I ask any of the faculty of the department to check the chat and tell me? So it's not possible for me to go back and come. Yes? Anyone has tried typing it in the chat? Yes, Rekha, Gunasegaran, Shruti. Okay, great. Okay, so this is just an icebreaker. So congratulations and all my appreciation to all the people who have participated, right? Good initiative. So we'll move on to the content. Okay, so what are we going to see today? So we are going to see few things about the expert system. So what is actually an expert system, right? What is an expert system and why do we need an expert system? And what are the different characteristics that the expert system should possess? An expert system is made up of what are the different components that it has or it should be having, and the process that is involved. This is very important, right? So how it all works. And finally, the application of expert system, right? But whenever we tell, though the word may be very new, but the concept is very familiar, right? One very popular, we'll just start on with a very popular example, right? What is the popular example? Okay, how many of you have made mistakes in typing when you were in searching of something on Google, right? We usually do this, right? So what we do is we'll make a mistake, right? In typing mistakes, some typographic mistakes will be usually there. And immediately when you see, Google actually suggests the results. See the showing results for what is an expert system. I have left out X here. right? Instead of expert system, right? So this is the one of the very basic and very popular example of expert system, right? The suggestion of spelling errors in Google search box, right? Okay, so here when you see as definition, what is an expert system? It is an expert system that is, it is a computer system that is designed to solve complex problems and to provide decision making ability like a human expert, right? So there are lots of experts in every field, right? Every field has a great expert. So when we say in the field of teaching, you have legends, right? When you see the field of medicine, you have lots of great scientists and doctors, and everyone are there, right? So it is not possible always to get solutions from them. But when you take a system, when all the expertise has been coded and programmed into a system, so at any time anyone can operate the system and get the solution for their problem, right? Okay, so that is what an expert system in a very basic, in a very primitive way of telling, right? So next, we'll see why do we need an expert system. See, there are lots of experts. As I said earlier, there are lots of experts in every field, right? So there are lots of people, but the advantages and disadvantages are there. So when you see this, so there are lots of human people, human experts in every field, but we have emotions, right? We have a physical body that becomes tired. Though we are so experts in every field, there are three people like that, but it is not always possible to contact the people who are there, right? So when you see when people works for 24 hours, so it is we need some rest, but it's not when you take missions, it is not so, right? It will work 24/7, but we can't, we humans can't work like that, right? So we are just mimicking ourselves into a mission so that whenever we need, whenever whatever time it is, we can just approach the mission and we can get whatever solution that we need. And when you see that accuracy of the mission, it is more highly accurate. Why? Because there are inputs to the mission from various experts. It's not only one expert. So, but when you say, for example, you go to a doctor for any disease, right? So you are showing symptoms of anything. So you go to a doctor and he is prescribing or he is telling you or advising you out of his own experience, right? Out of his own knowledge, right? So it is only one person who is communicating with us and giving us the solution. But in the other hand, if you take a system, an expert system, it is the input of many doctors who are in the same domain. Say if I have a heart disease, right? And if I go and ask a doctor, the doctor may give me an advice. But it is not possible for me to go and meet the doctor always, right? So we have so many restrictions. So it is not so with the mission. If it is a mission, I can get my advice, I can get my recommendations or solutions or any decision. It helps me in taking decisions at any time, and it is also very accurate, right? So that's why when we tell the machines has no emotions, right? So it doesn't go tired or it doesn't feel hectic or all those things. So it is so efficient also. It is very efficient in answering. And one of the characteristics of expert system is it will also tell you why it is giving the solution. The reason behind the solution will also be given by the expert system, and expertise is in a domain. So it collects, since it collects, we'll see what is the process involved. Since it has large amount of data in it, it takes everything and relates everything and give a very appropriate solution. And there is no memory limitation, right? You can just store n number of data, right? There is no storage, no limitation for it, and it regularly been updated, right? It is not say when you say people, we may not be updated with the latest technology, but it is not so with the machine, and it is highly secure, and it considers every aspects, right? Every aspects of the problem will be considered. So that's why we need a system in order to do this, right? And next we'll see, so we saw why we need and the characteristics. Next we'll see what are the different characteristics that are in that expert system should possess. So it should be highly performable, right? Its performance should be very high, right? It should not just say, I'm not going to work. It will never tell that, I'm not going to work this day, I'm going to take off on Saturday, on Sunday. So it can't be like that. And it should be of an understandable format, right? So whatever you tell, whatever you ask the system, it should be able to analyze, understand it, and give a proper solution. And it should be reliable, right? It can't just like that tell something, some answers or some decisions or some solutions for the problem. And it is highly responsive and ability to explain the decision. And as I told, it will also tell you why it is telling you such an answer, or why it is recommending you this way, right? The solution, or how it has approached to that solution. Okay, so all these will be the characteristics. So if I make an expert system, I should make sure that it achieves all these characteristics in the expert system, right? So next, we'll move on with the components, right? So components of expert system. So we are talking about this system. So now we should be knowing how it is made up of, right? So it is made up of different components, right? So what are the three basic components? So it is the user interface, right? And then it is the inference engine, and then it is the knowledge base. Okay, so these three are the three important components of the expert system. So we'll see one by one. So what is user interface? I know as computer science students, you all be very sure of what an user interface, right? So user interface is it's like a window that will help you to communicate with the expert system. So it is an interface that helps a non-expert user to communicate with the expert system to find a solution. When you tell this user can be a layman. He may not be knowing what is running behind the expert system, or he doesn't have any knowledge of the domain, right? But he just wants a solution for his problem. So he comes and he asks some questions, or he asks a suggestion, or he tells his problem to the user interface. So after telling, this user interface will communicate whatever the problem that has been told by the user to the system inside. So it is the one who receives and replies to the user, the human, right? And it gives the solution. The system will give a solution, and this user interface will pass on the solution to the user, right? So it is the thing that has been seen by the user, through which I can communicate with the system. So that is the user interface. So this is one of the very important component of expert system, right? Without which, say, if your user interface is a very complex one, if it is not a user-friendly one, so it won't be able to, people will find it very difficult to approach your system because of the complexity of the user interface. So whenever you design a user interface, it should be so simple, and it should be in an understandable format, right? And then this is the major part, the brain. It is called as CPU is called as the brain of the computer. This inference engine is called as the brain of the expert system, right? So when you see, it provides the methodology for reasoning about information in the knowledge base. So it provides the method, how the rules, the everything. So this is how, say you have a knowledge base, there is a collection of data that has been stored. And when you want, when a problem come into your expert system, so this inference engine, what it will do, it will analyze the problem and it will set some rules. It will, based on some methods, based on certain rules and based on certain frames and everything, it will take the knowledge out of the knowledge base and it will form a solution and it will give it back to the user interface, which in turn give it to the user, right? So when you see there are different components under it. So an inference engine will contain explanation facility, knowledge refinement, and Blackboard workspace. So what do you mean by all these components? When you see this Blackboard workspace, it is the place where the current problem has been stored. Say if I ask something to the expert system, so the question that I ask will be stored in the place called Blackboard. Okay, so the place where it has been stored, it is called Blackboard. And here only the problem will be encountered and it will be analyzed. And here the explanation facility. What is this? This is, say, if the expert system give me a solution, it should also tell me the reason why I am giving the solution. So the facility for doing that will be happening in this explanation facility. Okay. And then the knowledge refinement. Once the solution and everything is passed on to the user, the current problem will be stored as an experience. It will be stored as a knowledge in the database again, right? It won't just like that go. So from this Blackboard, it will be going to this knowledge refinement place and it will be refined. It will be again analyzed and again it will be fine-tuned and it will be stored back in the knowledge base, right? So every problem that has been encountered by the expert system, it will be stored for the future solution, right? So that is, this place will be doing this. So this inference engine is, it will provide a methodology how to solve a problem, right? Using the data that has been stored. So it is the brain of the expert system. Next, it is the knowledge base. So this knowledge base is the base of the, as the word tells, it is the base of the expert system. It has all the knowledge. It is the repository of facts, right? And knowledge is obtained from different experts in the same domain. Say if I'm going to develop an expert system for some heart disease, I'll get all the inputs from various experts in the field, say from various doctors who works as a heart surgeon or who are very specialist in heart, related to heart. So I'll get all the inputs. I'll store that every knowledge into the knowledge base, right? So this knowledge base is a collection of knowledge from various experts of the same domain field. And in fact, the success of the expert system depends on the knowledge base only, because it is like GIGO, garbage in, garbage out. If there is the garbage input inside put up, you'll just get the garbage outside, right? So whatever we are going to store inside the knowledge base, it should be of very highly expertized one. Okay, so these are the three important components that an expert system is made up of, right? So it is, what are those three components? First is the user interface. Next is the inference engine, and finally it is the knowledge base. Hope you are clear till then. Okay, so shall we make a pause in our presentation, right, in our experts? Yes, what will be your answer? Can an expert system replace human experts? Yes or no? Yes, you can put your answers in the chat over the YouTube. Yes, we are telling that expert system is so very efficient, but can it any time replace human experts? Yes or no? Yes, I think probably you would have given your answers by this time. The real answer is no, right? No, at any time you can never replace an expert instead of an expert system. So an expert system is not used to replace human expert. Instead, it is used to assist humans in making complex decisions, right? So it is no time, you just can't tell computers can replace humans. No, it is just a mission. But what it can do, It is so very efficient, true, everything is true, but it can just help the human experts, right? It will help the humankind because it is the human who is operating it. So in your mind, you should always have computers are just machines and it has been operated by the humans, right? So no time, any time of your anything, it can't be replaced, right? Okay, so shall we move on to the flow again? Okay, so next we'll see about the process that is involved in an expert system. So till now we saw the components, characteristics and everything. Now we'll see the process that is involved. What is the actual working behind the expert system? Okay, so I've just divided the screen into different stages. Okay, so we have to come from the right side. Okay, so first stage is called knowledge acquisition. Next stage is called knowledge representation. And third is knowledge inference. And finally, it is the knowledge transfer to the user. Okay, so what happens when you want to build an expert system? What should you do? Or what are the process that is there behind it? Okay, so the first and foremost thing is called knowledge acquisition. What is this knowledge acquisition? Right? So what is knowledge acquisition? It is getting the knowledge from the different, I was telling you, no, different, you are getting inputs from different doctors for a heart disease and you're storing it in your database, right? So that is called as knowledge acquisition. So we'll just see every slide, okay? So first is, what is knowledge acquisition? It is the process of extracting, structuring and organizing domain knowledge from the domain experts to a program. So as I was telling, it is getting the knowledge from the experts and storing it into a computer program and telling that as a knowledge base. So when you see here, there are 4 different stages here also. First is planning. First you have to plan. Okay, so what expert system you're going to develop? So what are the different people that you're going to take the input from? Okay, so if you're going to create an expert system for an educational field, you have to go and approach different expertises, right? So it can be different experts from every field you can go and approach. So what are the methods that you're going to deploy? So all the planning things will be the stage 1. And next is the extraction. Extraction is getting the knowledge, getting the data from the extracts. So when you say extraction, you have various ways of getting knowledge from the experts. So one such method is, say you can have a face-to-face interview. Say you can, you means it is the knowledge engineer. Okay, so the knowledge engineer will go to an expert and he will ask questions. Say, I have a situation like this, right? So what are the possible solutions, or what is the thing that I can do? So he will have a face-to-face interview and he'll get all the inputs and he will get it, and next stage is he will analyze it. Okay, so that inputs that he gets from the experts, he will analyze it and make it into a design, a formalism, where it will be converted and stored it in the computer, right? Or stored it as a knowledge base, and it will also be verified. The final stage will be verification. Say they would have got many inputs from all the experts, so it will become a small prototype like thing. So they will verify, they will run it and see whether it is okay. If it is not okay, again they will go and extract knowledge from various different sources and they will put it up, analyze it and store it in the knowledge base. Okay, so that is called knowledge acquisition. They'll get the knowledge from different source and store it into a computer program. Then it is the knowledge representation, right? Say since it is, after it has been stored, it should be useful, right? It should be fetchable whenever we need. It should be retrieved whenever we need. So that is, so you need to store it in a proper manner. You just like that, you can't put, say like a tabular column, we used to store it in Excel, right? So you have certain structures to be stored. So that is called as knowledge representation. How the knowledge that you have gained during the knowledge acquisition stage will be represented. So it incorporates findings from psychology about how humans solve problems and represent knowledge in order to design formalism that will make complex system easier to design and build. So in psychology, we have lots of principles, lots of things, how the state, the mind can be converted. It can be formalized as a design and everything. So that will be deployed. And examples for that is semantic webs, frames, tools, ontology, right? So all these are examples. This is how the knowledge that is been taken will be framed and it will be stored. Okay, so that is knowledge representation. And next is knowledge inference. What is knowledge inference? And inference, or the other name for it is the reasoning. Okay, it is the procedure used to solve problems that would otherwise require human competencies or expertise, right? So instead of getting the help from the experts, we are getting the help from the machines, right? So that part, that getting help part is then given by the knowledge inference stage. Okay, so this stage we get thing. So how it has been done? So it combines fact of a specific case with the knowledge that is there already stored. Say if I go to an expert system and tell, say this is my age, this is my gender, this is the problem that I face, these are the symptoms. So those are called as facts. Facts of a specific case. So for my case, what are the facts? And it will take my facts, it will take my input, and what will the inference do? Knowledge inference do? It will combine with the knowledge that is already been stored in the knowledge base and gives me a recommendation. First, we saw the recommendation. No, in Google search, it will recommend that. It will tell me that, say you have typed in wrongly, so instead of that, we are showing you a best result, right? So likewise, that is called a recommendation. Or whenever you say you see, there are lots of recommendation system everywhere. So if you watch a YouTube, right, you will get a recommended videos, right? Whenever you watch, you will get a similar videos that are related to the one you are watching. Or whenever you buy anything in an online shop, like e-commerce or like Amazon or Flipkart, whenever you buy one thing, say if you buy a mobile phone, you will be given, say the customer who bought this also have viewed this. So that is called as a recommendation. Okay. So whenever you buy a phone, you will be recommended to buy a mobile case also with that. Okay. So that is the recommendation system. So it will give you a recommendation based on the facts that you give and from the knowledge that is there in its knowledge base. Okay. And queries the user for further information also. It is a bi-directional. When you say the knowledge inference, the inference engine, it will ask the user to, if it needs any inputs, further inputs, it will get the information from the user also, right? So when I tell my problem, if it feels that it is an incomplete problem, if it needs more inputs on that particular problem, it will ask the user and get it. Okay. And by doing it repeatedly, by doing the algorithms, by applying the algorithms or methodology again and again, I told you, no, when you see the components, it is the blackboard, the space, the workspace that we are doing, working. The current problem is called blackboard. So there it has been processed again and again till it reaches its final solution. So till it feels that it has reached the goal state, right? You would have studied what a goal state is, right? So it has reached the maximum. After this, I can't do anything. So if it reached to that point, then it will give that as a solution to the user. So this knowledge inference stage is a very important and most powerful stage. Okay, the process. And finally, it is after doing it, you have to give it back to the user, right? So that is called as knowledge transfer to the user. So the user is done through a user interface again, right? When we saw the components, we saw about the user interface, right? So whatever the knowledge that is gained in the expert system is been communicated back as the solution or recommendation to the user. And the communication is bidirectional, meaning that the user can communicate to the system and the system can also communicate with the user at any chance for any queries for the user to the user or any whatever it is. It is a bidirectional process. It is not only one directional. It both the system as well as the user will communicate. Okay. And next thing is the user must be able to describe the problem. So what is happening in knowledge transfer? So the user will be describing the problem to the expert system and the system must be able to respond with the recommendations, right? Or the solutions. So these are the solutions. So from that we can choose, right? We can either accept it or reject it. So that is our thing, right? So is it clear? So what are the various process that is involved? Firstly, it is knowledge acquisition. That is, we are getting knowledge from the experts. The experts may not know anything about coding, computer science, everything. They are just experts in their own field, right? It can be in field of medicine. It can be in the field of geology, meteorology. There are lots of applications everywhere found. Okay, so they will just get the inputs. The knowledge engineer will get everything, right? And it has been represented. It should be formulated into a certain format, right? So that is done in knowledge representation, and it has been stored in the knowledge base. Then in knowledge inference, it has been combined with the methodologies or various rules, various facts, and with the database, and the knowledge has been transferred. So these are the process that are involved in an expert system. So it starts with the expert and ends with the user. Okay. And every time, say now I'm just storing, say for example, you can't make it into a quantity, but for an example, I'm telling, if I have 100 data or 100 experiences from different experts, right? Every time whenever the user comes and interacts with the system, it will be the actual case will become a case 101 case for the knowledge base. So every time it will be increasing, right? So updating. So whenever the data increases or whenever the knowledge base is still updated with lots of current issues, the accuracy of the solution of the expert system will be very high. Okay, so that is the process that has been involved in expert system. Okay, so next we'll see about the popular applications of expert system that has been already there. Okay, so these are very it has been there in practice. So one first thing is called Dendral. Dendral is it is used to calculate the molecular in chemistry. I think you would have studied in organic chemistry to detect unknown organic molecules with the help of their mass spectra. Okay, so with the mass of the molecule, it will find the structure of the molecule or what the molecule is about. Okay, so that is an expert system. The name of the expert system is Dendral. So it is in the field of chemistry, and this is Mycin. Mycin is an expert system. This what it does is it will find out the bacteria. Okay, it's designed to find the bacteria causing infections like Bacteremia and Meningitis. So these are some of the infections that are caused by bacteria. So this expert system Mycin will find out these type of bacteria, and it will also recommend drugs, that is recommend medicines for the user based on their body weight. Okay, so the input, so it will get body weight as an input from the user, and it will recommend, say you have to use this, you have to eat this amount of medicine in order to get rid of this type of infection. So it will tell a solution for that. And next is Fixedis. It is an expert system, and it will find the level of cancer. It will also detect the level of cancer, determine the type and level of the cancer, right? And Next, finally, it is the CANDID. CANDID is an expert system in diagnosing um, early stages of cancer. It can be any cancer. It is not specific to one type of cancer. Any early stages of cancer, any type of cancer can be detected by this CANDID expert system, right? So there are lots of other examples for expert system. As we saw, we have expert systems in the field of management, right? How to manage a company. We have expert system in geology. We have expert system in right? And when you ore a place, when you just dug a place for oring, right? Iron ore or metal ore. So there is an expert system for that. So there are lots of real-time applications, and it has been used widely. So one very basic example is what we saw previously, right? So the Google search, when we make a mistake, it will suggest the correct one, right? So that is one of the very familiar example of expert system. Yes. So next, I think we are done with this presentation. So I just wanted to ask, I'll post a link in the chat of the YouTube. I want you to just click on the link and fill it, right? I'll just screen it. Okay, I think I'll put the chat in the stream so that your teachers will share it to you in the YouTube channel. Yes, I think I posted the chat in the stream. Can I request any of the faculty to just post it in the YouTube stream so that we can see the feedback of the session today? You can just click on that and answer in one word so that we can see it. Is it possible for you to put up the link in the feedback in the comments of
Yes.
YouTube?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Yeah, okay, ma'am. Thank you. You can just type it in a word. This feedback is different from the feedback that the college gives. It's just for the session what I am getting it, right? So I've received 2 inputs. You can just click on the link and open it, and you have a place to enter it. You can enter and give submit. That's all. Only a word is required, not a sentence and all. Just a word.
Ma'am, have posted the link, ma'am. We
Okay,
have
okay,
posted.
ma'am. Thank you. Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah. Okay. Okay, I think it's taking little time.
Thank
We
you,
can
ma'am.
actually visualize. Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am, for that interesting and thought-provoking session. We hope that our participants would have gained insights on over them the real-time applications too. Thank you, participants, for your attention and patience during the session. It's now time for the participants to seek clarity on the topic, if any, from a guest speaker. Probably you can post your questions in the chat box if you're having any queries. Ma'am, we'll wait for the questions to get posted, ma'am. And as the
Okay,
questions
ma'am.
are
Sure.
posted, I will
Yeah.
let you know. Wait for
Yeah. Sure. Yes.
few seconds. Participants can raise their queries by typing their questions in the chat box. And also the feedback link is will be available now in the chat box. All the participants are requested to submit their feedback on the session. Certificate will be generated only after the submission of the feedback. The feedback link is already posted in the chat box. Participants are requested to submit their feedback on the session. Now I call upon Dr. S. Meenakshi, Head, Department of Computer Science, to deliver the vote of thanks.
A very good afternoon to all. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for the session. It was really a lively and a clear presentation, ma'am. Thank you so much. The roots of all the goodness lies in the soil of appreciation of the goodness. I consider this as a great privilege to express this vote of thanks on behalf of our college for the today's intercollegiate webinar organized by the Department of Computer Science on the topic of expert systems in artificial intelligence. So, this is my responsibility and honor to extend my gratitude to our management for the kind concern in organizing this webinar. Positive leaders empower the people to accomplish their goals. So, I express my heartfelt thanks to our Dean Ma'am, Dr. Revati Ma'am, Principal Ma'am, Dr. Anita Rajendran, for their significant leaderships. And sorry. I express my sincere gratitude to our resource person, Ms. Martina, Assistant Professor, Department of Commerce, Computer Applications, Women's Christian College, Chennai, um, for sharing, updating the informations about the expert system in the artificial system. Thank you so much, ma'am. Really, it was a very lively presentation, and it was so clear, and you explained it very clearly, ma'am. Thank you,
Thank
ma'am,
you.
once again.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. She has been very close to our minds, the resource person's explanation, in order to provide the new dimensions and the approaches in the modern technology. Thank you once again, ma'am. I thank all my department faculty members for their efforts and the cooperation. Finally, I thank all the students of our college and all the various colleges participated in this webinar for making this time available, useful, and lively. Once again, I thank all for this who have participated in this webinar. Thank you all.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you all.